So let's finish off our loops tutorials and look at the do while statement in Java. Very similar to the while and the for, but with one notable exception. So let's check that out. So firstly, the do while, unlike the while statement and unlike the for statements, executes code at least once and then until the Boolean expression is false. Now you can see on the screen there the syntax. We start with the word do, then we've got some braces. We've got the code that is executing in the loop, and then at the end we've got the while statement and then a Boolean expression in brackets. And because the while statement is down the bottom of the loop after the loop, therefore the code has to be executed at least once. So let's take a look at this in Eclipse. Okay, so firstly what I've done is I've reverted back to our while code from 2 videos ago, and just if we execute that, you can see that we've got the exact same processing values as we did in that first video. So to convert this to a do while, quite simple really, we just need to go up here and put the word do. Then I'm going to copy that, the while statement. I'm going to paste this down here at the end of the brace and put a semicolon. If I save that and if I run it, nothing has changed. As you can see, it still does work. But the one notable exception here is, as I mentioned, the code is executed at least once. Now in the other code, what I'm going to do is show you that shortly, but I'm just going to delete the elements out. And let's just presume that there was some sort of error and there was no elements in the array. Now if I do that and leave it as an empty array, obviously we've got nothing to process, so that would ordinarily cause an error. So when we run this with this code, this is going to crash with an error, and we'll see why. So we'll have a look. We'll run. And you can see we've got a Java array index out of bounds. And that's because it's executed even though the element is empty, or the elements array is empty, it still tried to access it, the first position in that array. So that's the do while statement. It has to execute at least once. And just to confirm this, if I just undo those changes, so I go back to our normal while I should say, and delete that. Save it, and then run it. Now you can see the sum total was 0, there's no error. And the reason there's no error is because the Boolean expression, the conditional check, is here at the start of the loop. So what's happened is the code has come along, looked at this, and immediately ascertained that, okay, there isn't any elements. In other words, index pos is 0, elements.length is 0, so it doesn't even go into this code at all to execute, it just skips straight down to there. So again, converting this back to a do while, we will get an error because it's executed once. And there's the error that we get again, as you can see. Now we could guard against that. We could put something like if elements.length is greater than 0, put that like so, and then we add another brace. So we're doing another test there, and now if we run that, we won't get an error because we've tested. So we put an if then, if the elements.length is greater than 0, only then start the do. So therefore, because in this case the elements were 0, in other words there were no elements in there, so it was empty, the length was 0, the code wasn't executed. And if I put 5 elements in there as a test and run that, that quite happily works with the values in there. So you would normally use, again, a do while loop. It really, the only difference, the only reason you'd use that probably over a traditional while would be if you want to make sure the code is always executed at least once. So that was the do while loop in Java.